This is BNN, the Bennington News Network.
Jean, question number 5. Pretend you've never been to Bennington before. What are the elements of our community that would entice you to stop? And do you see them?
Let's see. Well, just the physical beauty of our surroundings are amazing. We all know that. But I think we do forget. I think I mentioned earlier that we do forget. We just get used to seeing it. What would make me stop is the uniqueness of a small town, because they're disappearing. There just aren't a lot of places. There are a lot of them in New England, but outside of New England, small towns are kind of unusual. So the downtown would definitely be a draw. The draw, I'm an outdoor person, I walk all the time and hike, and nature would definitely draw me to this area of the country. That's probably why we ended up here. Let's see, all the cultural things that are going on, and our geography, that we're so close to Boston, 3 hours to Boston, 3 hours to New York, I think is a huge draw. You can get places so easily. We're an hour from a fairly large airport. I would stop probably first and foremost for the beauty of the area. That would be what would draw me in first.
Oh.
I think the candy store. And once you go in there and you get that aroma, you're ready to walk along the street. And then you talking with people. There are folks that are always ready and willing, Evans or otherwise, to give you a tip as to what might be out there to enjoy or explore. And you don't have to go too far. You can go up North Branch Street and take your first right around one of the corners, and you're on the long trail. I mean, that's the type of thing that we have, and people, once they see it, they say, well, you've got the only trailhead in the entire Appalachian system right in downtown. I mean, those are the type of things that we have to get the word, continue the word out, because it may not be the destination, but I don't go into the candy store as a destination, I go there as a start. And I think that's what we have. So frankly, there are a lot of reasons to be to stop in Bennington, but once you're here, I think the people are going to make the difference, and I think that's what we've got to be. We've got to be basically our own ambassadors to the folks that come in. Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, I think the downtown is always the heart of the community, and we have a particularly lovely downtown. So I think I'm always surprised if I'm sitting on a bench in downtown, because I work in downtown, and someone walks by, they always say hello, we talk, they'll ask me where they might want to stop and visit, or where they might want to eat. And there's that kind of friendliness. There's also the kind of friendliness that you see people stopping and picking up a piece of paper on the ground. I mean, people have pride in the community. So I think people recognize that pretty quickly. It's beautiful in downtown, and then you take 2 steps out, and you do have physical beauty. You can come here or go there as a day trip to Boston or New York or Montreal or Albany, so that we're conveniently located to larger metropolitan areas without having to be in them if you don't want to be there. And then we do have a lot of culture. So, there's something happening every single night here. So I think when people come and visit, they find that there are things they can go do immediately. So we do have the complete package. And then on top of that, we are a real town in the sense that we aren't just a little boutique place that looks cute. We have services. You can get your zipper repaired in this community. You can find a chocolate shop. You can buy a pair of shoes. I mean, in downtown and in the surrounding community, you can find anything you want. So I think people see it, and I think sometimes we may forget about it, but I think we also know and love it.
What elements would entice me to stop? One, the history. And we have more history in Bennington than probably any other place in Vermont, and perhaps all of New England. I mean, the first settlers, Old First Church, Battle of Bennington. We have 2 explorers who were born here, grew up here, and went up to Canada. One of them is credited with founding British Columbia, and he's referred to as a European. Well, we were a part of Europe at the time, but, so we have history, culture. We've got 5 colleges. We've got a great downtown theater, I understand. And one of my favorites in the town, a symphony orchestra. I've been to big cities that are having a tough time holding their symphonies. We got a great one. It's doing fine. The physical beauty, I love hiking and canoeing. If you want to ski, it's all around, and it's never far away. And the people, the salt of the earth, if you go back to the Vermont tradition, they're still here. But this is Vermont. And so you have that. What I like to do is kind of just spring a little bit from enticing someone to stop to enticing them to stay. You know, when you want to entice them to stay, I think the same elements play into it, as well as the fact that if you want to go somewhere else, to the ocean, to Boston, to New York, they're within a drive. The airport's not that far away. So it's a very convenient place to live, to raise your families. We have good schools. So it's a great place to raise family and to live. And not only do we want to entice people to stop, we want to entice them to stay.
Exactly. Mike?
The National Main Street Program has as a significant way of describing the importance of downtowns, and I'm going to broaden the view a bit, in its reference to a sense of place. I think that we've all described, and obviously we wouldn't be sitting here if we weren't all pretty big fans of Bennington, but what we've described is a sense of place. And are there any New York residents sitting with us this evening? I don't want to offend anybody, but I've always held this, that, and I think it's not only true of the one direction I'm going to reference, but have you ever had that sensation coming in from the west on Route 9 and crossing the state line and having the vista of Vermont open up to you? I think that's an outstanding, it's a wonderful feeling. You get the same sense coming down 7 from the north. You get the same sense coming down South Street and having an overlook of South Street in our downtown. It's a sense of place. It's a feeling that you have arrived somewhere that's different from where you came from. And I think that's what we've all talked about here at the table tonight. Now, I think the challenge that we have as a community is safeguarding that sense of place. And we do it in terms of how we develop ourselves. We need to do it in terms of how we care for the people who struggle within our community. That's part of sense of place. We do it in dealing, as I mentioned, with the scourge of heroin that we're dealing with. That's a problem in sense of place. But I think that that's the key ingredient.